V. Harish Kumar, objective is to train, motivate, and inspire a team of people creating new benchmarks. He is a graduate in science and in law, an international graduate of training from the JCI Training St. Louis, USA, and a graduate trainer of Rotary Leadership Institute, Rotary International.
I want to share some of the life experiences, especially from the perspective of the young generation, and how this young generation is getting developed and groomed for the future years to come. On that basis, this entire session called Peace Borders is being developed and being shared with you now. The world is full of human beings, and all the human beings distinctly experience two stages in their life. The first stage is the happiness, and the next stage is the sadness. And it comes in turns. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are sad. Sometimes we are sad, sometimes we are happy. It is a kind of a cycle or a kind of a loop that it happens. The question to ponder over is why this happiness and sadness always become a constant factor whenever we experience a life of a human being. Well, both happiness and sadness depends upon one factor called peace. Now, this peace is understood as well as misunderstood. This peace is felt as well as lost. And this peace is thought about and also forgotten. It's a mixture of entire logistical living apparatus that what we call to live a decent human life. You know, when we are happy, we feel as if that we are on the top of the world. And when we are sad, we feel as if that we are in the depth of an ocean. And what a contrasting distance, both the things from the level of the ground, it happens. So the overall objective of this session, Peace Borders, is how internally we work on peace so that peace can be established in the external environment. And why this topic has been selected, researched, and shared today is our own age group, the youngsters between 18 and 25 years. We are seeing a lot of people are suffering. Quite a few percentage of the young generation, our own colleagues or the contemporaries, are committing suicides, not holding up the pressure of life, a human life, not within themselves having the peace factor. Why to go to that extent called suicide? But unfortunately, it is happening around us. The second factor is a lot of youngsters in the age group of 18 and 25 years, as I earlier said, are struggling in their life with peace within themselves and beyond, and are ready to take the action of suicide, but somewhere they are not able to do it and struggling. But unfortunately, the thought of suicide is very much inside them. Another set of youngsters and another percentage of youngsters are struggling in their life. They somehow want to overcome the difficulties and the problems or issues that they are facing and experiencing to come out of them, but unsuccessfully are not able to do so because they are fighting with peace. And that is one reason why the habit of drugs and the addiction of social media platforms are really affecting the youngsters. And another small percentage of the youngsters are aware of this, overcoming this, and live a decent life for their future. And a minuscule percentage of youngsters still do not know why they are born, why they are living, and why they are going to die. So this is the entire mixture of the young generation people around us. So in common, for all the sets of these young people's generation, this topic is dedicated to them so that in future they can have a clarity as well as find a meaning and purpose for their human life to live better, so that not only they live better, but also their surrounding human lives also live better. On this overall objective of this session, let us straight away kick off. Peace do have borders. When I say borders, it is not a kind of a geographical border. It is called as an emotional border. Now, these emotional borders define how human life is being experienced as a living being. So, when peace has borders, naturally, when we say borders, there will be violation of borders. Now, what are those violation of borders, especially in the context of the peace borders? A mild violation, say somewhere some emotion has been touched upon. That mild violation creates anxiety inside an individual. Sometimes we become very uneasy. Sometimes we feel very uneasy. Sometimes just by seeing something, we feel uneasy. Sometimes by just hearing a word, we become uneasy. It's a mild violation of that emotional border, which is affecting the internal peace of us. And that is a mild violation. But it is not the end of the road. We also experience a deliberate violation. Somebody really acting on our peace. And that deliberate violation creates disturbance inside us. Many a times we feel disturbed, and it takes some minutes or hours to come out of that. For some people, it may take even days to come out of those disturbance. Why we are getting disturbed? What is the necessity of getting disturbed? We have the power to create happiness. We have the power to handle happiness. We have the power to live happiness, but still we get disturbed. Why should we get disturbed? It is because a deliberate violation of our peace, the disturbance happens. And another kind of a violation of our peace border is a gross violation. People deliberately do something. People, without any hesitation, commit something, and it really makes us angry. We have come across a stage just by a mere unhappy situation or uneasy situation to a stage of anger. Why? Because it was a gross violation of our peace border. And I don't see or know so far in my life that there is a single human being who has lived a human life without anger. If you are able to find one, please inform me. I would really like to research that person, that human being. Having said that, when all of us at some point of time are getting angry on something, why do we get that anger? It is because of the gross violation of the peace borders that we have built within ourselves. And that anger is sometimes really disturbing, sometimes is really harsh. Now, how to handle that? It is not enough. Human life is fantastic as well as very challenging. And when I say challenging, the ultimate is the gross provocative violation of human being. It's a provocative violation of our peace border, and that turns us into a mad person. In other words, it creates a situation inside us to take revenge on others. Now, taking revenge on others is the ultimate form of the disturbance that what we carry inside us. See how in different stages the peace within ourselves is being tarnished, is being challenged, is being encountered, and is being really taken for a task. Now, with all the power inside us, with all the high levels of self-confidence, with all the high traits of leadership, with all the high skills of communication, with all the high inputs of intelligence and understanding, but still we struggle with one factor called peace. The reason, when we have a border of peace, which is emotional, these are the different violations of the peace borders really makes us or builds up our personality. Now, a person who handles this peace border conveniently, convincingly, and with a kind of a hold or authority on it, definitely carries a richer personality. Otherwise, we are yet to build a rich personality. That is the bottom line. Now, having given the prelude of what exactly peace border is and how exactly as a human being, as a young generation individual, we can handle different perspectives of peace borders, let us get into the real task on how to manage and how to handle it. Well, as I already said, peace is understood and misunderstood. Now imagine when we have to travel from Kathmandu to New York. It's a quite a long distance, and initially before the airplanes were found, it was taking months to reach New York from Kathmandu. But as the science developed, as technology developed, and the discovery of an instrument called airplane had come across this human race, once we were able to fly in that airplane, lot of human beings, when I say human beings, people, lot of people really got excited by the way the comfort it is giving to us to live a human life. And it was just a matter of within one day that we will be able to travel from Kathmandu to New York, replacing months of travel by just one day travel. Now, why it happened and how it happened, and what is the significance in this? The significance is people became very optimistic. They became optimistic because that they started believing that a human being can handle science and technology for their own benefit and comfort, and can, as they please, can live a life. Imagine how optimistic it was. So peace is understood there because it gave comfort to the human being. It gave some kind of a solution for their issue of, say, a long travel in this case. Now, how peace is misunderstood then? When parachute was discovered and when it was floated across the human race, the first few reactions among the human beings, that is among the people, was no, no, it should not be shared with the human beings, fellow people. It should not be. Let it remain in the labs of science and technology. It should not come out as a living experiment with the human beings. We cannot allow the human beings to get exposed to this technology called parachute, because it is a kind of a forced murder. And that kind of comments were passed. The entire human race was having a very pessimistic outlook on this discovery of parachute. Imagine when the airplane was discovered, the human race perspective was optimistic. When parachute was discovered, the human race perspective was pessimistic, a direct opposite. Why? The reason is, while discovering airplane, peace was understood. While discovering parachute, peace was misunderstood. As simple as that. But unfortunately, the people realized the importance of the technology of parachute a little later. They thought that if the same airplane, the optimistic point of view, gets into some kind of a trouble or an issue, the only way that they can help themselves to retrieve from that situation is by a technology called parachute. And that parachute is going to help to save their life. But unfortunately, when the parachute was introduced, it had carried a total pessimistic outlook. Why? Again, the peace was misunderstood at that time. Slowly and steadily, the misunderstanding of the peace really started becoming an understanding of a peace, and now parachute is part and parcel of any airplane. This is how human lives also live. When we become emotional, we make a standpoint. When we are non-emotional, we make another kind of a standpoint, and both the standpoints clash. And how effectively we handle that clash determines our personality. And that's where we call it as rich personality, poor personality. As simple as that. All right. Let us start one exercise here. If you're ready with your pen and paper, I would like to challenge you to answer this question. And let us see whether you are able to answer this question perfectly. And if which is our first victory as a human being? I repeat my question. Which is our first victory as a human being? Yes, our birth is the first
Yes, he's
victory that we had. You know why? Because we came out alive, as somebody actually said, we came out alive on an average of 200 million sperms, one sperm becoming active. And that really is the point. When out of 200 million we are able to survive alone, when there are 200 million different kinds of emotions around us, why we should not survive on the factor called peace? Now, this is the challenge. When I say about peace, it does not mean that we should become a religious person. It does not mean that we can discard all the habits, customs that what we have or followed. It does not mean that we should become an island, not speaking or not in connection with anybody. And it does not mean that we should be aloof, not bothering about anything across us. No. Peace can be transacted. Peace can be a business. Peace can be a kind of a trade-off, which we are going to see a little later. And peace can be exchanged. This is the entire fundamentals of this session. So the first victory we have already tasted by our birth. Now, after tasting the first victory, any human living person would like to taste victories throughout their life till their death. And that is ensured by only one bottom line factor, and that factor is peace. As simple as that. But unfortunately, that peace has some borders. So, how to handle those borders is the challenge. All right. When we are no longer able to challenge a situation, say everything around us is so negative, everything around us is so disturbing, everything around us is so much confusing, everything around us is so much problematic. If we find ourselves in that kind of a situation, we employ all our strengths, we employ all our resources, we employ all our skills and talents, but still, if you are not able to meet that situation victoriously, then the only solution which is lying inside us to come out of that situation is we have to change ourselves. Unless we change our personality a little bit to handle that awkward situation, we will not be able to overcome that situation, and that is the fact of life. As an youngster, these words will be very big. But as we experience life, we will understand what exactly it means. Now, in my generation, the maturity level of an youngster was not that effective. Say, if I put it in percentage, it was effective, say 50%. But this generation with whom I am sharing this info of peace borders have the maturity level efficiency of more than 75 percentage. And that's a very good sign that this generation is kicking. But at the same time, they are also confused. And that confusion has to be settled out. How to do that? With this session called Peace Borders. Let us get into this thing. The world teaches a lot of things, plus as well as minus. Anything which is plus, we can add on. And anything which is minus, we can subtract on. That's it, as simple as that. But the world continuously, constantly teaches us so many things. That's the fact again. Okay. How our preparation will be. Now there is a challenge for you. Say, for example, we are speaking on the context of our preparation. When I say our preparation of how we are able to understand and act our personality. All right. I am describing the situation now. The question is, which is better? I repeat, the question is, which is better? Eaten by a tiger or bitten by a snake? Which is better? Eaten by a tiger or bitten by a snake? Only two options are left. We don't have a third option. Either eaten by a tiger or bitten by a snake. Which is better? All right. Now, many times when we live a human life, when we interact with our fellow human beings, whichever generation they belong to, we come into this kind of a situation to really decide which is better, to be eaten by a tiger or bitten by a snake. And unfortunately, we have to choose one of them because we are not having the third option. And that determines our preparation of our personality. Our personality is really challenged every time when we live a life. Every second of it, every moment of it, every day of it, every year of it, our personality is always challenged. You know, when we carry a name, say for example, I carry a name called Harish. Now, this personality by name Harish is always challenged. Like that, every other person who carries the title or the name is always challenged. And that is how the entire human life or the living thing is being set up. Now, how better we can live the life? What better things we can do as a human being to our fellow human beings? These are the some different perspectives that we are trying to get the answers across. Now, when we have an understanding that we have to select from a two awkward situations, one situation, so that we can handle ourselves better. Say, for example, that the snake may be non-venomous, non-poisonous. The snake would have bitten just a pinch and we could have escaped, or we know the first aid of handling the snake bite, something like that. There is no guarantee. If it is a really a deadly poisonous snake, even few milliseconds are enough to cause death. There is no guarantee. We don't know. But at the same time, why our understanding is getting faltered, why our peace border is getting little shaken there is, we tend to think that eaten by a tiger is really the very good solution to handle that particular situation, because once for all we are gone. We don't even have a time to realize. We don't even have the time to actually reflect on ourselves what happened. That is done and dusted, we say. Well, that is also a fact. But as we encounter the human life, there are some situations where we have to allow our personality to be eaten by a tiger. We should not carry any whims and fancies across it. We should just yield it, let our ego compromise, and just discard or ignore and just pass on. That is a necessity. That can ensure our peace very, the border of peace very intact. That will ensure our peace within ourselves. At the same time, in a different set of circumstances, we should offer our personality to be bitten by a snake, even though we take little pain, but then out of that pain, we still serve for others' gain. And if that happens, we are carrying a rich personality. So it depends upon the context, or it depends upon the need of the circumstances, that how better we can adjust or become a flexible person, adjust our personality or become a flexible person to handle the situations. If that thing happens, we are ensuring a perfect border for our peace within ourselves. This is a life lesson we can learn continuously throughout our life. It happens, and we can really relish and enjoy in offering our personality either to be eaten by a tiger or to be bitten by a snake. Whichever it is, our preparation should be perfect. That's it. All right. Okay. In JCI circle, there is a tenet called service to humanity is the best work of life. All right. When we say service to humanity as the best work of life, what exactly it means? As a member of an organization which believes in service to humanity is the best work of life, it is not just by words that we should become very happy about it. It is not just by doing some actions, by some projects or programs, that we should settle for happiness. No, we should go beyond that. How exactly we can live service to humanity is the best work of life. Very simple. It is four words. Be a good example. Be a good example. As simple as that. Whatever we think, whatever we feel, whatever we talk, whatever we act, or whatever we react, we should always follow this mantra or the formula called be a good example. And that is the biggest service to humanity that we are offering ourselves. We are offering our personality towards that. And that really makes us life a far better life, a peaceful life. Be a good example. On that basis, why I am stating this is because, as I earlier narrated with you, that the world is full of issues. Say if a dirt comes and hits the left eye, if some a minuscule dirt has entered the left eye, it has entered the left eye, but also the right eye feels that. It is not that the dirt has gone only to the left eye, there is no botheration for the right eye. No. Even if the dirt has gone into the left eye, the right eye is bothered. So even if we are within ourselves peaceful, it is not enough, because the people around us also should be peaceful. That is the logic. So based upon this logic, we should try to see, first we should become a person with peace inside us, the border of peace to be intact. And the next step, seeing that the persons around us are also within peace, having their borders of peace intact. Now, how to handle that? I have a solution to be shared here. So far, I have given you the theory aspect of peace borders. Now, let us come into the practical aspect of the peace borders. There is no point in it just by saying a theory and concluding it. We should be knowing the practicals of the theory so that we can start implementing and acting upon it. So here are the practicals. I define those practicals in 6 points. These 6 points can really help us. I believe that, because It is an experiential learning that what we are doing right now. And all the points we may not find in some textbooks, we may not find in some journals, we may not find in some websites. It is an experiential learning inputs. So let us see that how it works on us and how we are able to handle those points to work for us. Out of the 6 points, the first point itself, it may sound little controversial, but fact. Many times fact is controversial, but we have to handle that controversy too. Okay. So the first point is be uncomfortable. Now, what is this? What is this trainer sharing here? We are attending a program so that we become strong. We are attending a program so that from the uncomfortable to comfortable we can pass on. We are attending a program so that we can enrich something. And here the trainer is saying, be uncomfortable. Thank you for the typing. Be uncomfortable. What is this? Yeah, that's a controversy. I said controversy because many people on the face of it will not be able to buy it. That's the reason I term it as a controversy. All right. Why be uncomfortable? Now, many times the water is felt, is seen only by its ripple. Else, we don't bother about that water at all. Unless we see a ripple, we either see the ripple and understand that it is water, or we feel that it is water. That is the point. Once we want to establish peace with intact borders within ourselves, we should be always in a situation, we should be always placing ourselves strategically that this is uncomfortable, how best I will manage it. This is uncomfortable, how best I can overcome it. This is uncomfortable, how best I will come out of it. So being uncomfortable is a different situation. Be uncomfortable is the internal way that we handle the peace within ourselves. Once we develop or groom our personality to a level of maturity that let me invite uncomfortable, let me handle uncomfortable, let me face uncomfortable, let me just see across uncomfortable. If we are able to talk within ourselves, if we are able to sense within ourselves, if we are able to think and feel within ourselves like be uncomfortable, then we will see we are really progressing. We are progressing to establish a perfect peace border within ourselves. So point number 1, practical, is be uncomfortable. Don't become relaxed. Don't become lazy. Don't become lethargic. Don't become sedentary. Don't become just a kind of a money bag or a scum bag, what we say. Be active. When we say be active, it means we carry the uncomfortableness with comfort. We carry the uncomfortableness with comfort. My God, that's a very long word. So be uncomfortable. This is the point number 1. Point number 2 is talk internal. Now, what is this talk internal means? When we talk, it's always being heard by somebody else. Yes, that is talk external. Talk internal means when we talk, nobody apart from us can hear that. The only person who can hear that is ourselves. That is a common understanding. It is not a new news because we have been aware of this and we have heard a lot of things about that. But the fundamental point is when we talk internal, I'm giving a challenge here for the youngsters, this young generation. When we say talk internal, choose the language of victory. The language with which we talk internal should always be a victory language. Now that is really how a modern day youngster, a social media youngster, an youngster who has been exposed to artificial intelligence can handle themselves. Whenever we talk, especially internally, we should always talk with a language called victory language. And if that happens, we can face the world. We can create happiness. We can establish peace with intact borders within ourselves and through that for others. So our internal talk should carry the language of victory. Now, when I say language of victory, how better we can understand that? Always try to ask ourselves, what is the next opportunity I have? It's a very powerful question. What is the next opportunity I have so that I can pounce it, get it out, so that I can grab it and release it out. What is the next opportunity I have? That's a language of victory. If you really want another example, I can put it like this. Let's change this. The change is a very powerful word there. Let's change this. Whenever a person determines within themselves to change something, that means they are progressing. That means they are shifting their gears, shifting even their goalposts. It happens. Let's change this. And if we still further want another example, the question we can ask ourselves is, what else is possible? We are trying to play with alternatives there. What else is possible? Now, these are the wordings which defines the language of victory. So when we talk internal, we should always be speaking the language of victory. So here, when we say talk internal, choose the language of victory. That's point number 2. Point number 3, respond physical. Now again, this will be a controversial term. Respond physical. This point number 3. Now when I say respond physical, I am not encouraging to go for a fist fight. I am not encouraging you to slap somebody else. I am not encouraging you to do something physical which is quite understood, but it is beyond that. Now, what exactly this respond physical means? Well, the first is, it may look a little odd that we should adjust our physical position as I am just exhibiting now every 20 minutes. No human being, especially an youngster, should carry a physical position in a kind of a solid form without any movement of physical body in one particular dimension or direction. They should be in a position to shake their body. In popular terms, it is called a shake your ass. We should shake it out. Unless we shake it out, we really get ourselves into trouble there. We will not be able to buy peace. We will not be able to carry peace, because many a times our borders of peace gets distracted or violated because of our physical conditioning, and our physical conditioning determines the peace. Our physical conditioning is always developed by us, not by others. So we need to be a little movable, little mobile there. That is first physical response. Another physical response is breathe. Breathe fresh is the term. What is breathe fresh? Normally we breathe, say an intake and an outlet. But when we say breathe fresh, that means we should consciously feel our breath. In 24 hours, we are continuously breathing, but very few breath that we feel it. All other breath patterns, we just don't feel because it is just running as an automatic machine. But whenever we want to feel fresh, whenever we want to rejuvenate ourselves, whenever we want to become proactive, whenever we want to establish peace within ourselves with a kind of a gusto, we should start feeling the breath within ourselves. This is the physical response. So the mobility of the body, physical body, as well as feeling the breath, feel the breath. These two physical responses we should carry in our personality. This is point number 3. Point number 4, focus outcomes. I repeat, focus outcomes. Okay, what focus outcomes mean? This is not a goal setting exercise I am sharing. This is not a target achieving that I am saying. It's something different. Goal setting, achieving target is outdated. It no longer belongs to this artificial intelligence world. When I say this, a lot of trainers will get jitters, but that's a fact. Youngsters just don't release a thing called goal. They are not bothered about a thing called target. That is immaterial to them. They are in some kind of a vibrant aspect of life. So goal and target is just non-entities for them. Okay. So what exactly has replaced that particular term called goal or target? Well, it is something different. That's what we say outcome. Focus outcomes. That means do things till it happen. I repeat, do things till it happen. We should not lower our guard. We should not let it go. We should be, intensely focused. We should be dedicating ourselves. We should be a committed lot for whatever we are doing. Do things till it happen, and that is focus outcomes. This young generation needs to adapt, ADAPT, needs to adapt that. If that happens, definitely we are carrying a fantastic peace border within ourselves. Through that fantastic peace border, we can establish other peace borders so comfortably. It can happen. That is what is defined in one word called leadership. And that is the leadership we develop and then share. All right. So, focus outcomes is the fourth point, that how practical we can establish peace border. The fifth point is power relations. I repeat, power relations. Now, what exactly power relations? Now, we have heard about these things: interpersonal relationship, team building, human relations, so on and so forth. All those things have lost the image. All those things have lost some kind of a relevance these days, especially in this young artificial intelligent world age. Now, how exactly as an youngster we can handle relationships with a co or a fellow human being? We need to power our relations. Now, how exactly we can power our relations? The only formula, the only way, as I understand, there might be some other I don't know yet, but as I have experienced life, as I understand, the only way is the word, the meaning, the understanding that we should carry: empathy. EMPATHY. Once we practice this art of empathy, I think we can give power to any kind of relations. We can really transform not only ourselves but also the people around us. And that empathy is a kind of a very cementing factor for our peace border. And that peace border, through that, we can establish peace for our fellow human beings. Empathize. That's the point. So that's the fifth point, that to establish peace borders, power relations. And the last, the sixth one is leverage time. I repeat, leverage time. Now, this is not time management. This is not time effectiveness. This is not how we handle time factor. And this is definitely not about punctuality. It is something very different. When we say leverage time, it is if there are any accountancy students or a commerce student or an economic student, they will instantly learn better. Other people also can learn, but a little later. The key word is audit, AUDIT, audit. When we say leverage time, we need to audit people, issues, situations. People, issues, situations. If we are able to audit it, out of those 24 hours per day, we can really leverage the time factor so effectively that time is a factor which we don't have to bother about it at all. Time becomes irrelevant in our personality. And that's the biggest level or the highest level what we can achieve. When time becomes irrelevant in our life, that's the height of the achievement we can say. That we have to start developing, start establishing. When time becomes irrelevant, peace border is fully intact. And when peace border is fully intact, we are not only peaceful within ourselves, but also around us. With these 6 points, we can establish peace borders within ourselves so that it can help others who are around us to establish their own peace borders. Ultimately, at the end, before I conclude this entire session, what exactly we have seen is we described what exactly peace means. We described why borders are there for peace. We saw that how the border violations can take place in different stages. And then practically we started understanding the world, how different aspects of the world human living standards really affects our own peace borders. And with that theory, we got into the practical of 6 points in handling our personality to establish peace borders within ourselves so that we should be at peace within ourselves. Through that, we can establish peace throughout the world with the fellow human beings. And to conclude with one last sentence, we should always live a life of triangle, TRYANGLE. Once we start having a life of carrying an angle called triangle, definitely we will be able to live a human life not only as an individual person, but also a person belonging to this human species, so that peace prevails in this world, and through that happiness becomes a constant factor, and every human being is really able to live their life better. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's like a Guru Dakshina to my Guru is as well. He's taken this opportunity to give one session. It's a 9th Virtual National Junior GCs Leaders Academy 2020, 11 to 12 December 2020. A token of love, JCI Senator V. Harish Kumar, past President JCI India, past Vice President and Treasurer JCI. We heartily thank you for your valuable presence and contribution in making the 9th National Junior GCs Leaders Academy 2020 a huge success by being the esteemed faculty on the session topic Peace Borders, hosted by Biratnagar Junior GCs, held on 11th to 12th December 2020. JC Sandeep Das Shrestha, Academic Director, Junior GC Arogya Shrestha, National Junior GC Coordinator, Junior GC Ankit Thapa, President, Biratnagar Junior GCs Host Chapter.